The desert winds howled across the empty plains of Chiron 7, a forgotten world where ancient bones of war machines slept beneath the dust. Huge metallic ruins stretched across the cracked ground like broken gods. In the center stood the most feared. Relic of them all, the Celestial Fang, is an alien ship no one had ever flown. A group of engineers, soldiers, and explorers surrounded it. They stood in silence, staring at the dead machine. For centuries, many tried to awaken it. None had succeeded. Some were burned alive by energy feedback. Others just disappeared. Among them stood Kalira, a tall alien woman with deep violet eyes and silver blue skin. She was a war-trained commander from the Valari High Circle, the last bloodline sworn to protect the ship. Her voice was firm as she spoke to the team. "This ship is sacred," she said. "Only the Starbloods could command it. We keep trying only to honor our history." "Right," someone muttered. "Honor and failure." Then someone laughed. It was a human. Young, sunburned, with dust on his boots, and a half-smile that annoyed most aliens around him. His name was Rin Carter, a freelance scavenger pilot hired by accident after a cargo drop near the region. He leaned casually against the ship's side, tapping its hull like it was an old truck. Kalira narrowed her eyes. "This is no joke, human. The last being who touched that panel lost 3 fingers. Rin chuckled. "Guess I'll try with my left hand then." Gasps followed. Even some engineers stepped back. Kalira stepped forward, placing a hand on her energy blade. "Don't touch it." But it was too late. Rin had already placed his palm on the ship's ancient interface, an oval-shaped stone embedded in the hull, glowing faintly. The wind seemed to pause. The air grew heavier, then dash hum. Lights flickered across the alien metal like fireflies waking from sleep. Blue lines danced from the control panel, reaching across the ship's skin like veins. The ground trembled gently. Kalira's heart skipped. "No," she whispered. The Celestial Fang's engines coughed once, then purred like a living thing. Rin looked around, eyebrows raised. "Did I break it?" "No," Kalira said in shock. You activated it." It's one of the engineers. Fell to his knees. "It's never done this. It's not even for Admiral Zaxil." Rin backed away slowly. "I was just messing around. I don't even know how I did that." A sharp mechanical sound burst from the ship's base. Jets of air hissed as a hatch unlocked, rising in slow, reverent motion. The entrance lit up, inviting. The inner hallway, untouched for centuries, glowed with pulsing blue light. Kalira didn't move. Her hand trembled. "This is not possible. The ship must be reacting to something in your biology." Rin shrugged. "You think it likes me? You are human. You do not carry sky blood. You do not carry anything." He stepped closer, curious now. ... This ship, it was built by what, your ancestors?" "Yes, it was a weapon of the Sky Chosen, my people's ancient protectors. It's only they could fly it. Their bloodline is dead." "Not all the way," Rin muttered, more to himself. Then, without warning, the entire ship lifted off the ground, just a few inches, floating in the air. Dust blew around its base. The team shielded their eyes as the ship settled gently, as if waking from a long sleep. No alarms. No sparks, no violence. Just control. Kalira stared at Rin like he was something unnatural. "What are you? Just a guy with good timing?" "No, you are something else." The engineers crowded around the ship, scanning everything, speaking over one another. Some were excited, some were afraid. Kalira ignored them. She stepped forward, looking Rin in the eyes. "If this ship recognizes you, then it may mean something worse is coming." He raised an eyebrow. "Worse than being stranded with an angry alien commander in a ship that almost ate me." She didn't smile. Rin looked at the open hatch, then back at Kalira. "You coming with me?" Kalira hesitated. Her orders were clear. Do not let anyone near the core systems. But this wasn't in the manuals. This wasn't in prophecy. This was new and forbidden. She took a breath and nodded once. "Don't touch anything else," she warned. "No promises," Rin said, and stepped into the ship. Behind them, the ship sealed shut like it had been waiting all along. Asterisk, the lights inside the ship didn't glow like normal bulbs. They pulsed like they had a heartbeat. Soft blue, living light filled the narrow corridor as Rin and Kyalira stepped inside the entrance, sealing behind them with a gentle hiss. For a second, Rin thought the silence was peaceful, but then the ship breathed. He heard it, like a sigh from deep within metal lungs. Kyalira stood tense beside him, eyes darting to the walls. Her hand rested near her blade, but even she didn't know what to do. She'd entered this ship once as a child, a silent tour. Everything had been dark, dead, cold. But now the floor beneath their boots was warm. The walls shimmered as if watching them. "Where do we go?" Rin asked, keeping his voice light, though his fingers twitched nervously. Kyalira didn't answer. She didn't know. The ship had no maps. No one had ever gotten this far before. The legend said the celestial fang had a mind, that it chose its own master. But that was just myth. Until today, Rin walked ahead anyway, guided by lights that formed under his feet. Every step forward lit up a path. Behind them, the lights faded slowly, as if the ship wanted them to move one way only. Kyalira finally spoke. "This ship is older than most civilizations in this galaxy." Rin glanced at her. "How old are we talking?" "For the 5 empires, for even the Vorn. My ancestors said it came from the stars, before the stars had names." Rin stopped. "That doesn't make sense. If this thing is that old, how is it still working?" She looked at him. "You are asking the wrong questions. Should ask why it is working for you." It shut him up. They continued deeper into the heart of the ship. Strange markings shimmered on the walls, symbols that looked like constellations, but shifted slightly when watched too long. Rin blinked and rubbed his eyes. One symbol in particular glowed brighter than the rest. He stepped closer, tracing a line with his finger. The moment he touched it, the wall melted into transparency. Behind it was a chamber, circular, empty, except for one thing in the center. An old chair made of alien metal and soft light. It floated just a few inches off the ground. Around it were panels that had never lit up before. But now, one by one, they began to glow. Kyalira stepped forward, breath caught in her throat. "That's the command throne." Rin gave her a look. "Like a captain's chair?" "No," she whispered. "Like the throne of gods." The ship didn't wait for him to sit. The moment he entered the chamber, the chair turned to face him. And then, a soft chime echoed through the walls. The ceiling above shifted, revealing a wide dome that showed the stars' real-time space visuals from orbit. But they weren't alone. Several blips appeared in the distance. Unknown ships. Watching Kyalira's face changed. Skywatchers. They've seen the activation. Friends of yours? They're not friends of anyone. They protect what? They don't understand, and they destroy what they fear. Rin tilted his head. "Let me guess. They fear this ship. They fear what it represents." The throne spoke. Not in a voice, but in a pulse. Rin felt it in his spine, like someone whispering directly into his bones. Starblood recognized. Access level. Initiated. Kyalira stared. "That's not possible." I think it just gave me a badge," Rin muttered. She stepped forward slowly. The Starbloods were a race long dead. Their genes were unique. They bonded with living ships, like this one. But their entire line was wiped out in the War of Wills over 500 years ago. So how the hell am I hearing this ship? I don't know. Rin approached the throne. He didn't sit but when he placed a hand on it. Visions burst in his head. Planets exploding. Fleets burning in orbit. A silver-haired warrior holding a blade made of starlight, standing before a council of glowing beings. He saw death, fire, and then a child, crying in a small chamber. The visions ended. Rin staggered back. "What did you see?" Kyalira asked. "I don't know," he gasped. "Memories, but not mine." The ship pulsed again. Memory bank unlocked. Core directory. Accessible. "Do you wish to proceed?" Kyalira stepped between him and the throne. "Don't. Not yet." "Why?" "You don't understand the weight of what's happening." If you continue, the ship might fully accept you. And if that happens, others will see it as a threat. Not just the Skywatchers. Governments, empires, syndicates. They'll all want you dead, or worse, in control. Rin paused, hand hovering over the panel. Then he smirked. Too late. I already touched the shiny stuff. The throne lit up completely, and the ship's engines roared to life. Outside, orbit, the Skywatcher ships began to move, closing in, and in the ship's core, something began to wake up. Something not seen for 500 years, asterisk. The desert planet Chiron 7 was no longer silent. Far above its red surface, dark shapes moved against the stars. The Skywatchers feared an ancient order had arrived. They were known across galaxies not for justice, but for one mission only: to guard forgotten technology and erase anyone who touched it. Inside the awakened alien ship, Rin stood near the glowing throne, still trying to catch his breath. His heart raced, and his hands trembled slightly. Not from fear, but from something else. Power. The ship had accepted him. Not fully yet, but enough to feel the difference. His mind buzzed with data he had never learned. And part of him didn't feel completely human anymore. Kalira paced nearby, her long cloak trailing behind her like shadow. Her expression had shifted from cold soldier to something closer to panic, though she hid it well. They are coming, she said quietly. Rin looked up. The Skywatchers? Yes. You activated a ghost. Their machines would have felt it. Raised an eyebrow. They always this friendly? They don't talk. They purge. No warnings. No negotiations. Just then, the ceiling dome shimmered again, showing a real-time view of orbit. There were now 3 massive black ships above Chiron 7. Their hulls looked more like bones than metal, and sharp blue light pulsed from their undersides. Rin stared. Don't look like diplomats. Kalira didn't smile, because they're the ones who wiped out the Skybloods. He turned to her. The people this ship once obeyed. She nodded slowly. And if they know this ship lives again and that you control it, they will come with one goal only. Rin finished her sentence. To erase me. Without warning, the ship vibrated. Not violently, but like it was reacting. The lights along. The corridor changed from soft blue to sharp red. A calm voice echoed from the walls. Proximity alert. 3 Skywatcher vessels entering attack position. Kalira grabbed Rin's arm. We have to hide. The ship is powerful, but not fully awake. If they fire now, Rin pulled away and stepped toward the throne again. No, we don't run. Kalira froze. You don't even know how to fly this thing. He smiled faintly. Didn't know how to start it either. But it worked. Luck won't save you twice, human. It wasn't luck, he said, softly, and touched the side of the throne. This time, he didn't just feel a pulse. He felt connection, a warm presence moving through his spine into his thoughts. The ship wrapped around his mind like armorand. For a brief second, he saw everything. He saw the Skywatcher ships, saw their weapons charging, saw Kalira, younger, standing over a tombstone of starlight. And deeper, he saw memories. Not his own of a boy hidden during the last war, child sent away from a dying race. A child smuggled to Earth. Starblood Echo recognized. Command permission. Provisional. The ship lifted from the desert floor, smooth and silent. Outside, sand burst into the air as anti-gravity fields kicked in. The old warship was flying again after for centuries of silence. Kalira held onto a side panel, her voice tense. What are you doing? Rin didn't answer. His eyes were glowing faintly blue, just like the ship's lights. He whispered. Let's see if this thing still remembers how to dance. The Skywatchers must have sensed it. First of the black bone ships fired. A massive plasma lance screamed down from orbit, heading straight for the ship inside the cockpit. Rin blinked and the ship moved on its own. It vanished. For a heartbeat. The celestial fang was gone. Then it reappeared behind the enemy fleet in space. Thousands of kilometers away, without using any visible jump drive. Kalira's mouth dropped open. That was slipburst travel. That tech was lost centuries ago. Rin grinned. Feels like it never left. The enemy ship spun in confusion. The Fang hovered behind them, silent and still. Then, without Rin touching a single button, a weapon system activated. Panels rose from the floor. Lights circled the room. Ancient symbols lit up around his seat. Kalira stepped forward, staring. Those are war runes. This isn't just a ship, it's a weapon platform. Outside, 6 glowing orbs spun around the ship, orbiting like moons. They lit up the void with sharp white light. Kalira looked alarmed. You must deactivate. Now, if you fire first, the galaxy will know this ship has returned. Rin hesitated. The ship whispered to him again. Kill switch ready. Do you authorize cleansing burst? Rin stared at the enemy ships. They hadn't fired again. They were just watching, waiting. He exhaled slowly and spoke. No, not yet. The lights faded. What? The orbs returned inside. The ship settled back into silence. Kalira exhaled sharply, walking over to him. You don't understand what you just did. I saved us, Rin replied. Yes, but in doing so, you've announced yourself. Suddenly a message appeared on the central display. A message from the Skywatchers for words. He has returned. Erase him. Rin looked at CA's single quotes. Lyra, she nodded, grimly. They're afraid. When something ancient is afraid, it becomes dangerous. He leaned back in the throne. Well then, let's give them something real to be afraid of. Asterisk the glowing stars above. Chiron 7 faded into the swirling lights of the ship's interior as Rin and Kalira ventured deeper into the celestial Fang's heart. Every step they took echoed softly against walls, alive with shifting colors and patterns, as if the ship itself watched their every move. The air was thick with power, ancient and raw. Humming beneath their skin like an electric current, Rin's mind was a storm of newfound memories and sensations. He still struggled to make sense of the strange visions the boy hidden away during a galaxy-wide war. The silver-haired warrior, the whispered prophecy of the Starblood. Yet the more he connected with the ship, the clearer it became. This was no ordinary vessel. It was a living relic, a guardian, and a weapon bound by bonds lost to time. Kalira's voice broke the silence. The ship's core lies ahead. It is the soul of the celestial Fang. No outsider has seen it in centuries. Her violet eyes flickered with a mix of reverence and dread. Many believe it to be dormant, but you have awakened something more. The corridor opened into a vast chamber, bathed in a soft blue glow. In its center floated a crystalline sphere, pulsing gently with light, live and breathing. The core DAT as Rin approached, images flooded his mind. Ancient battles, star systems, reduced to dust, and a single word repeated again and again: bond. His heartbeat synchronized with the core's rhythmic pulse. Suddenly the sphere cracked open, releasing tendrils of shimmering energy that reached out to entwine around Rin's limbs, not to harm, but to merge. Kalira gasped, her hand instinctively moving to her weapon, but she held back. The core was linking with him, accepting him not just as a pilot, but as part of itself. Memories cascaded through Rin's consciousness, memories of the Starblood ancestors, their triumphs and their tragic fall. He saw the desperate escape of the last child, sent away from a dying race to survive among humans. He realized with a shock that this child was him. The bond deepened. Rin felt strength pouring into him, a surge of knowledge, reflexes, and an unbreakable connection to the ship's vast powers. But with it came a warning, awakening the core meant. Becoming the target of all who feared the Starblood's return, Kalira S. Voice was steady, but soft. You are not just a pilot anymore. You are the living legacy of a forgotten empire. Suddenly alarms blared throughout the ship. Outside, the Skywatcher fleet had repositioned, preparing for a final assault. The fate of the celestial Fang and Rin himself hung in the balance. Steeling himself, Rin gripped the controls. The ship responded as one with him, ready to unleash the full might of a legend reborn. Together, pilot and core prepared to face the storm that awaited among the stars. Asterisk. The sudden blare of alarms echoed through the celestial Fang's vast corridors, cutting sharply through the charged silence of the ship's core chamber. Outside, the deep shadows of the Skywatcher fleet had closed in, their ominous vessels, blotting out stars as they prepared for a devastating assault. Inside, Rin and Kalira were caught in a web woven by trust, betrayal, and desperate hope. Kalira's eyes darkened with conflict as she stood by the command throne. Though she had pledged her loyalty to her people and their sacred laws, she now faced an impossible choice. The ancient code forbade aid to outsiders, especially one so unexpected one who had awakened the celestial fang after centuries of silence. Yet something in Rin stirred something long buried within her, a flicker of faith, maybe even rebellion. Before she could voice her thoughts, the ship's communication panel crackled to life. The message was cold and merciless: her own people. The Valari High Council, demanding immediate surrender and the destruction of the ship. The order was clear: eliminate the human pilot and silence the awakening forever. Rin's gaze hardened. They don't want a legend reborn. They want to bury it, and me with it. Kalira's voice trembled, but held resolve. They fear what this ship represents, what you represent. But their plan is worse than fear. They will kill us both to stop it. Suddenly, armed Valari troops stormed the command deck there, weapons trained on Rin. He raised his hands calmly, eyes scanning for a way out. The betrayal was real. Kalira's own people had turned against her. In the chaos, Kalira did the unthinkable. She activated a hidden override, sealing the ship's bulkheads and cutting power to the Valari weapons. The soldiers snarled, but found themselves disarmed, trapped by the ship itself. "Help me save this legacy," Kalira said, her eyes pleading. "Help me save us all." Rin nodded, adrenaline sharpening his focus. He linked fully with the celestial fang feeling. Its power surged through him like wildfire. Together, they would fight not just for survival, but for a future where the past's mistakes wouldn't be repeated. As the Valari High Council's forces regrouped and prepared to breach the ship's defenses, Rin and Kalira readied for a battle that would echo through the stars. In that moment, enemies became reluctant allies. The fate of a forgotten empire rested in their hands. The war for the celestial fang had begun, and no one would emerge unchanged. The celestial fang surged through the black void of space, like a sleeping giant finally awakened. Outside, the Skywatcher fleet loomed large, their skeletal ships cutting through the stars like blades poised to strike. But inside, Rin sat firm on the command throne, every pulse of the ship sinking with his own heartbeat. This was no longer just a battle for survival. It was the beginning of a war to reclaim a lost legacy. Kalira stood beside him, her eyes scanning the tactical displays that flooded the chamber. "Their weapons are unlike anything we have seen," she warned. "They can cut through most shields in seconds. You must be faster." Rin's fingers danced across the controls, but the ship responded beyond his commands. Ancient systems long dormant awoke, revealing weapons and defenses that seemed more alive than mechanical. A low hum filled the room as 6 glowing orbs, ancient energy spheres from a forgotten age, emerged and circled the ship's hull like guardian spirits. "They're called the Star Orbs," Kalira explained. "Each holds the power of a fallen star, capable of unleashing destruction beyond any modern warship." Rin felt the weight of that power settle within him. The ship whispered strategies in his mind, tactical maneuvers, secret formations used by the sky chosen centuries ago. His reflexes sharpened, his vision widened, and suddenly, he was not just piloting a vessel, he was commanding an extension of himself. The Skywatchers moved in, firing torrents of plasma and energy beams. The celestial fang danced through their attacks with impossible speed, slipping between volleys like water flowing through rocks. The star orbs pulsed, releasing waves of light that shattered enemy shields and crippled their ships one by one. Kalira's voice was fierce. "You are the Starblood reborn. This is your destiny." Rin clenched his jaw. "Then I will make them remember why they feared us." The battle raged across space, a storm of light and sound. The celestial fang became a legend reborn, a beacon of hope to those oppressed by the Skywatcher's tyranny. Alien worlds watching from afar began to stir, whispers of rebellion spreading like wildfire. Then, just as victory seemed within reach, the largest Skywatcher ship, the Obsidian Fang, charged its devastating main cannon, a weapon capable of obliterating entire fleets. Rin's heart pounded. The ship's core pulsed urgently, warning of the impending strike. Without hesitation, he shouted, "Hold on!" The celestial Fang surged forward at impossible speed, cutting through space to intercept the Obsidian Fang's attack. Energy collided in a brilliant explosion that shook the heavens. For a moment, everything was silence. When the light faded, the Obsidian Fang was broken, drifting like a shattered corpse. Kyalira turned to Rin, awe and relief mingling in her eyes. "You've done what no Sky Chosen ever could," Rin exhaled. "Exhausted but victorious. We've only just begun." As distant stars watched, a new empire was rising from the ashes, led by a human and an ancient alien warrior. United by fate and fire, the battlefield stretched wide before them, a sea of shattered ships and drifting wreckage. The silence after the storm, both eerie and full of promise. The celestial Fang hovered over the ruins of the Skywatcher Armada, its ancient hull glowing faintly beneath Rin's steady hands. Around him, the ship seemed to breathe, alive with a power that had been dormant for centuries, now rekindled. By his very presence, Kalira stood beside him, her violet eyes reflecting the distant stars. "The war is over," she said quietly. "But the true test begins now." Rin nodded, though inside a storm of thoughts raged. He had become more than a scavenger pilot. He was the living heir to a legacy lost in time, the Starblood reborn. The ship, the powers, even the ancient memories were no longer strangers. They were part of him. Suddenly, the ship's core chamber pulsed with a deep, resonant sound, call not just of power but of destiny fulfilled. The crystal sphere that housed the core shimmered and then projected a vision. Images of the past danced in the air, the ancient Sky Chosen, proud and strong, their fall in a brutal war, and a secret hidden deep in the ship's memory. Rin stepped forward as the vision showed a chamber sealed within the ship, untouched for centuries. Inside was a relic crown forged from starlight and ancient metal, the symbol of true command. Over the Starblood Empire, Kalira's voice was filled with awe. The crown of Aloria, it was said only the true Starblood heir could wear it. Rin reached out, the ship guiding his hand toward the hidden chamber. As he placed the crown upon his head, a surge of energy coursed through him. His eyes glowed, brighter, and the ship responded, lighting up with a brilliance that lit the void. A voice echoed in his mind, not his own, but that of the ancient Starblood ancestors. "You are the bridge between past and future. Lead with strength and mercy." Outside, across the galaxy, word spread quickly. The rebellion inspired by the celestial Fang grew. Star systems once shackled by fear now whispered hope. Alliances formed where none had dared before. Kyalira stepped closer to Rin, bowing her head in respect. "You have changed everything. You are not just a human with alien blood. You are the future." Rin smiled, a mixture of humility and determination in his eyes. "Then let's make sure that future is one worth fighting for." As the celestial Fang prepared to lead a new era, Rin looked out into the endless stars and felt a profound truth settle within him. Sometimes, legends were waiting to be reborn, not in the past, but in the courage of the present. The galaxy would remember the day the untamable ship flew again. Not just as a weapon of war, but as a symbol of hope, because a human dared to pilot what no one else could, and in doing so, became a legend asterisk.